You send me a bad marketing email, it's not segmented or whatever, I'll let that go. Give me bad support. You're off my list. This is the nuts part. I've been in email for 19 years.
So you were in the email marketing space before spam almost. So you can A/B test pop-ups?
You can.
Interesting.
Greg Zakowitz has over 19 years experience in email marketing and is the senior e-commerce expert at Omnisend, a leading email and SMS tool for Shopify stores. Omnisend has become one of the biggest innovators in the email and SMS space, truly making it easy for any Shopify store to create amazing email and SMS automations that convert.
I am an Omnisend user myself.
For your personal brand, whatever makes sense, right? Cost, whether it's a percentage off, $1 off with a minimum spend. Omnisend data will tell you they do sign up more with spin the wheels. All things being equal, spin the wheels are fun. People like them. What are you going to lose?
Greg, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've been waiting to do this because I am an Omnisend user myself on all of the stores I manage. And so I'm so excited to have you on to personally learn some tips and tricks. And also I know there's going to be so much value for our users. So real quick, tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, the company you're with, and a little bit about your background. And then we'll dive into it.
So happy to be here. And I knew you were smart. So So Greg Zakowitz, senior e-commerce expert at Omnisend, which is fitting for us. So it's nice. I've been with the company for 5-6 years, much smaller way back then. And I was a lot smaller before then. My background, I've been in marketing for 20 years, been in email, this is the nuts part. I've been in email for 19 years and kind of stumbled my way into it and then got into it really early. And I was like, oh, there's something here, and just kind of kept going on that. And I've kind of held all roles. So practitioner to consultant to analyst, and now kind of a combination of all those things here. So been doing it for a long time. And we were talking offline, Jay. I'm like, marketing was kind of my fallback career, if you will. Old radio broadcasting major that went into marketing and made that transition. So we were joking that very few people in marketing actually went to school for marketing.
Right. So true. Well, 19 years, that's,
yeah.
I mean, so you were in the email marketing space before spam almost
So this is the funny, we ever get around, have a cup of coffee or beer or something, I will tell you Wild West stories about Spam House existed back then, right?
Yeah.
I could tell you about buying lists, renting lists, having like 20 ESPs because they would just get shut down for getting on this spam because we're just buying like millions of names and stuff. It was nuts back then. Really funny stuff, but you learn deliverability very quick way back when. It's just a lot easier now.
Yeah. And it's been good what's happened in the email space because there's been regulations and different laws that have been passed. And so people generally have to follow them. There's still some bad actors out there, but I think you did a talk the other day and I was just looking through the numbers on the open rates. And I think for the last 5 years, open rates have actually steadily increased, right?
They have. And, the interesting part is just kind of going off the top of my head here. I think it was like 26 point something, maybe 26.2 for 2020. So for those interested, we do these yearly stat reports. We throw them on Omnisend. You can check it out. To the resource section there. So last year, 25 billion marketing emails sent. So we're looking at 26% over 25 billion messages sent through the year. Interesting because we all talk about the email is dead and it's never really dead and things like this. But I think with the emergence of paid channels, mostly paid social and the amount of social networks now, I think brands are really starting to come back around to, hey, you know what? First party data works, first party marketing works. And then you have consumers that kind of get fatigued with some of that to some degree. And they now look at email as, hey, this is where I'm going to go when I want to shop, or at least it's part of my discovery process.
Yeah.
And we kind of see the effects of click rate and click to purchase rate change based on consumer behavior as well. So, 26%, it's 1 of every 4 emails you send get open, which is nuts.
Right. It's actually crazy when you think about it. Not 1 of every posts on social media gets viewed by your followers. If you want to compare apples to apples, right? The actual attention. I think for a while, email was a little bit looked at like, oh, that's the old way. Now there's like everyone went heavy on social media, and then a lot of like the rug got pulled out from them, and like, you know, people that built huge audiences on their Facebook pages, and then Facebook now started charging you to reach the audience you had.
Yeah.
And just everything else going on with like, if you don't perfectly match, like find the secret to the algorithm, like you might have a post on social that goes viral, and you might have something that doesn't hit anyone because it's all up to the algorithms, where your audience on email is your audience on email. Like you own it. And I think that's sexy again, you know, like
it is. And, you know, there's a level of comfort with email too, right? It's been everyone's lives for years, right? Even we were talking about, like, we have kids around the same age. You know, my 12-year-old's got an email address that he uses for, you know, PlayStation and signing up for AI tools and stuff like that. Like everyone has an email address. It's a comfort thing. Not everyone is comfortable clicking on social ads. And I think social ads are great, by the way. So don't get me wrong.
Of course.
It's a great place for product discovery. But you get people that, like, I do it sometimes. I'm like, man, if I click on this thing, I'm just going to get inundated for the type companies. And I've got to balance that myself. I might go to email and I might just do a search in my emails, be like, hey, what is the product I'm looking for? See if I can hit something, or I'll search the brand name, something like that. So I think the level of comfort with email and now SMS, I think it's a little bit understated, but it's important.
Yeah. I want to get into I got a list of like examples and some strategies and stuff, but real quick, what is Omnisend?
Yeah. So I think I probably missed that on the
No,
intro.
that's fine.
The company is going to kill me when they watch it. So we are an email and SMS marketing automation platform built specifically for e-commerce merchants. We have plug and play integrations with pretty much every major e-com platform. So the Shopify, obviously, for your listeners, set up and going in, 10, 20 messages, click and play, but you can get the whole store set up in no time whatsoever. So a couple clicks and you're in. And we've got all the features that you need to run a successful business. So automation, segmentation, templates, drop and drag editors, kind of everything you want, we've got for you. And, it's a very intuitive platform for you. So come check us out if you're unfamiliar with us. And I always tell people we're a super open and friendly company. Questions, we're accessible on LinkedIn. You can email us, whatever you want to do. And we're there for you.
Yeah, I think that actually is something. So I mentioned I use Omnisend myself, and I've interacted with the support team a number of times. They are, like, I just use the chat, and they're instant, they're fast, they're really good. And I know a number of your competitors are actually removing support unless you're paying thousands of dollars a month. You actually don't, you just have to find your own answer in a support forum somewhere. So I think that's amazing that you do that.
Yeah. Shameless plug here. It's a free 24/7 support for all users. Even we have a free plan. So even people on our free plan gets 24/7 support as long as you got it. Just won some awards. Just threw them on LinkedIn today. So customer service awards again.
Oh, amazing.
So shameless plug here. I'm just
congratulations. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I am, when we started Bold, usually when someone starts an app company of any sort, the first thing you do is you hire developers, you build a bunch of products, you raise money, you hire more developers, and then you try to figure out support later, or you try to figure out, how do I not even do support? The reason I respect this so much is we took the opposite approach at Bold. Our first 3 hires were support people, and we always knew that, like, product can be copied. Someone could do what we do. It's actually, there's clones of just about every app in the App Store. But what's really hard to clone is amazing support. And that's what the knockoffs will never do, right? And so I respect that a ton. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's a good transition over to the e-com side, because I've been saying this for a few years now, but customer support is one of those major differentiators between brands now too, because almost everyone, right? Free shipping is almost there, even if there's a threshold on it. Returns, give or take, but generally there's similar return policies. So a lot of those value adds are kind of similar across the board. You need to find your niche. Service is one of those. And you can lose a customer very quickly with poor support, especially on the retail side when you have products everywhere.
You can lose them and you can win hundreds more with good support, So I always say, we tell our team, like, when something goes wrong, things are always going to go wrong. Like, a product's going to get lost, or shipping is going to take a while, or something will happen, a double charge for some reason, or like something will go wrong. Those are golden opportunities to give amazing support and turn that customer into a raving fan. Like, when someone just orders something on your site and they check out and they get their order in 3 business days or whatever it is, and they open the box and there's no issues. Like, they don't go and rave on the internet about it. But if something does go wrong, and then you go out of your way, like say a package doesn't come and then they just ship another one with no charge, or something is broken and they're going to return it and they say, you know what, just keep it, give it to a friend and we'll send another one. Or you do something a little bit above and beyond. Those are all the stories you hear. You don't hear, hey, I ordered from ABC company and I got my order like expected. Like, there's nothing there to rave about, right?
So there's this old stat, and it's probably 20 years old, and every year you see it on some blog post that says like new stat for 2024. If you track it down, it's about 20 years old. But there was some study that showed if you have a customer, to your example, that has a poor experience, it doesn't have to be terrible experience, but just something's off fitting there and they need help, and you help them, they become more loyal for you because they know you're going to be taken care of. And that's just as true today as it was whenever that study was, because I know I am one of those people that I would value support over other things. Like, I can give and take. You send me a bad marketing email, it's not segmented or whatever, too many, 3 in one day by accident. Like, I'll let that go. Give me bad support. You're off my list.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact. So for Bold, we have apps on Shopify, and one of our metrics that we track is activation. And so activation, for listeners using, if you install one of our apps and you keep it past trial, that's activation. And we monitor that. And so it ranges different apps. It might be 30%, it might be 50%, because there's uninstalled during the free trial period. But for people, so one of the things that we track is for people who install an app and just never reach out to support, or people that have an interaction with support, the activation rate for people who interact with support during their trial period is almost double, which is insane, because you would think, well, they had a problem or they had an issue or something didn't work with the app. And then you might think that would be worse, but they actually activate almost at a double rate for people that don't. So support is a marketing growth strategy too, right? It's not just, I don't want to go too much down that tangent, but that's a huge thing that I appreciate about Omnisend. I want to get into, there's a lot. I know we're going to run out of time, so I want to make sure we get some really good tactical advice, because I've got someone with 19 years experience in the email space here. So I see email as table stakes. First of all, like, there's fundamentals you have to get right. And then you can stand out. So someone listening right now, there's probably fall in a few different buckets. There's people who maybe are not sending emails at all. They might just send a random blast campaign every 3 months when they have a sale, Black Friday sale or something else. And then there's people who don't send at all. There's maybe people who have a little bit of automation set up for abandoned carts and stuff like that. But let's start with, what are the fundamentals that you see that a Shopify merchant should get right, should have? Like, what are the fundamentals to doing email well on your e-commerce store?
Yeah, it's a good question. Good kind of lead up to it as well. So I think table stakes is the perfect word, Jay. I think when you look at it, most brands, and not all, which kind of surprises me now, but most brands will have some sort of pop-up on the website. I think it's the best way to grow your list. It's the quickest way. People will say it's annoying. I don't think anyone really thinks it's that annoying anymore. The annoying part is if you can't close out of it. Right?
Agreed.
That's the annoying part. I was actually on a website yesterday, and a pop-up came up, and you couldn't click off of it, but the X was the same color. It was in the upper right corner, but it was the same color as the background there. And I couldn't, and I almost left the website. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's the border of the box. I clicked it, and sure enough, it closed out. So that's the annoying part. But if you get that right, have the sign up, have a pop-up. We'll get into SMS here. I would collect mobile numbers as well. The big thing there is make the mobile number optional. Don't make it a 2-step where the second step is kind of leading. Hit the email address, you go to the next side, and then it's, hey, to finish getting the discount, put your mobile number in. You just have bad expectations. But have the pop-up, collect the email address, number one.
Yeah.
One of the things beyond that is I look at, right, we talk about omnichannel marketing. Things work together. You spend money on paid ads. It's to drive conversions, drive web traffic. You want to get that the pop-up there to maximize your other marketing efforts as well. So on TikTok or Instagram, someone sees it, they click through. Can they sign up at that point? You want to maximize the spend there. If they do a manual search and they don't come over from Instagram or TikTok, and then do a manual search and get to your brand name, you want to maximize, again, you're still spending that money on that traffic. Of course, the pop-up tools, you can have settings in there, say, hey, if they come from Instagram, maybe don't show it or show it on different, posts. So you can have those customizations to keep the experience going. So that's one. Get the pop-up right. Collect mobile numbers. Make the mobile number optional by all stretch of the imagination, please. Message. We'll talk about automation, I'm sure, today, Jay, because this is where brands are.
Got that on my list.
Yeah. You want to tie that pop-up or the sign-up, if it's in the footer of the website, to a welcome message. We could talk about strategies of welcome message now or later. If you offer an incentive, obviously make the welcome message go right away. Have the incentive in there. If you don't offer incentive, that's fine as well. I would tell you not to tell your brand story in the welcome message. People will yell at me for that. We get into arguments, conversations, and debates about it. I think you're wasting an opportunity to touch someone. So have the welcome message going, and then just have a decent email set. Those are the basics here. Well, automations, 3 we're going to talk about that I think are essential. Got to have them.
Yeah.
Welcome messages, cart abandonment, product abandonment messages. Talk about post-purchase. I think it's super. We talked about customer service ties into it. But those 3 are my essentials now.
Okay, so if you get nothing else right, collecting emails with your welcome pop-up, a welcome email, and sorry, what was the third one? I just want.
So, cart abandonment's kind of everyone. This brands still don't do it. It shocks me, but cart abandonment and product abandonment messages.
And product abandonment,
yeah. And here's how I look at it. High intent stages of the customer journey, right? They're signing up because they're on your website. There's some sort of intent there, with you or someone else. Product abandonment, they're browsing products on your website. There's, again, some sort of intent there. Something took them there. Cart abandonment, obviously there's an intent because they carted products. Those things kind of string people along and keep that journey relevant. I look at those 3 things and I say, okay, your scheduled marketing messages that you just send out on any Tuesday or Thursday of the week, those fill the gaps in between there. But if you keep these high engaged moments going, you're going to capture a lot of sales, and you use then your marketing, your scheduled messages to kind of fill in gaps, keep touch bases. And having those, and you're sending those to high intent customers, it actually reduces your reliance on having to send 7 messages a week or 5 messages a week, right? You can send fewer because you're engaging people as they're shopping.
Yeah. Okay, I want to break these out a little bit because I feel like there is doing the basics, which everyone should do. And then there's doing it a little bit better, because I go on some sites and they have enter your email to get 10% off. And I go on some sites and it's an awesome experience. It's like they work in their brand in there. They make it funny, or they do different things. Let's talk a little bit about the welcome email. And I wanted to just echo your sentiment as well too, that I do hear sometimes people say that it's, I don't want to annoy my customers with a pop-up. And there will be a very small percentage of customers maybe that get annoyed. I don't even know if that's true anymore. Because every store, they're just so accustomed to it. But I really think the benefits 100x any potential negative downside of someone getting annoyed. It's such a small fraction that shouldn't even be a consideration.
If someone is getting annoyed by a pop-up, they're going to have a tough time shopping online, just in general, right? Because things are going to go wrong, right? And it's like the least annoying thing in the world now.
Yeah. And then I sometimes also hear people say, well, I'm not really doing email marketing right now. We plan on that for next year, or we're going to, we know we need to do a better job at it, but we're not doing it yet. So what I often say to people in that situation is, well, when you do email marketing, you're going to wish that you had collected emails from the last 100%. Year, right? So start collecting them, even if you're not doing a single email marketing. That welcome pop-up is when you're ready to start, you're going to wish you had 10,000 emails from the last 12 months, right? So what are some things that you can do to maybe increase the opt-in rate on that and just optimize that welcome pop-up?
Yeah, so I will say just real quick, even if you collect email addresses, you don't use them for 12 months, send at least 1 message a month. Just those people, you're going to get a lot of spam. Yeah. And,
and it's also good for the email software. If you don't email someone for a certain period of time, it has a higher chance of going in a spam filter versus if it's regular, right?
Deliverability best practices. Yeah. So keep that good churn, those working for you, and start building from there. Okay, going back to the original question, how do we maximize the pop-up? My general rule is keep it simple. Make the X easy to close out of, right? Obviously, for those people that get annoyed by it or maybe are not ready to sign up at the point, right? Let them close out of it. Let them get on with their day. I think the other thing is keep it simple, right? You don't have to promise people how often you're sending to them. Just give them a reason to sign up. It's the old adage, right? What's in it for me? Take this relevant. So, hey, sign up and receive 10% off. Obviously, the call to action is I'm going to get a discount. I'm recognizing you on my website. So you probably want to buy something sometime, somewhat soon from someone. So why not me? You don't have to offer an incentive if you don't want to. Maybe margins, maybe personal choice, right? You don't want to be a deep discounter. I would then just provide them some sort of exclusive benefits. So, hey, be the first to know about insider-only offers or email-only offers. You can make it generic. You can make it real quick. Just give them a reason there. When I say keep it simple, you can still ask for other information. Think about the information you are going to use sooner than later. So a lot of people, and this has changed a little bit over the years, but a lot of people will ask, they used to ask like gender, and then they would have a birthday field with it, and they would have like a preference box. Like, hey, are you interested in XYZ, in ABC? And now you're asking for a lot of pieces of information, which are all fine to have. But if you're not going to use that information very soon, you shouldn't be asking for it. You can collect it later. So birthday, people we were chatting about this before. I think people are generally aware that if you're giving a birthday, they're going to get some sort of birthday treat. So that's okay. It's super quick. If it's something very specific, maybe you have a B2B and B2C line, like gift baskets or something, that's going to be relevant for you from a welcome series, from a segmentation standpoint, ask for it, right?
Yeah.
If you're planning on giving some sort of surprise and delight thing. So shirt size, good example, right? You can ask for it. Men's and women's, clear cut. What are you shopping for today? So keep it simple. Keep the information that you're asking for, information that you're going to use. And ideally, you want to use it right away. And we could talk about welcome series strategies to use that right away. But I think it's as simple as that. And then SMS, I would always ask for it. You're going to get people that will sign up for it. It is becoming we talk about table stakes. I think it's a must-have channel now. Recognizing that it's not for everyone. It's going to want them. That do want them will put their information in. You want to collect that. And again, this is a good example of, I'm not doing anything for 6 months. Well, 6 months from now, you're going to wish you had 6 months worth of mobile numbers, right, to collect. So, keep it simple, stupid, right? That's how we go for it.
Yeah. And I noticed that there's also people that feel that SMS is too intrusive and they might not, but there's actually the younger generation, they prefer SMS, and on when they check out, they'll only enter. Shopify has the option that you can enter an email or a phone number. You don't have to have an email to check out. You can just have a phone number. And a lot of the younger generation only enter a phone number. So it's just their preferred method of communication. They don't maybe check an email as much. So SMS there's a segment of people that's their preferred method.
Yeah, and I would say that, years ago, SMS marketing has been around for over a decade, right? So it definitely used to be a young man's game, right? It was the younger generation. It's not like that anymore, right? It spans every generational cohort, including baby boomers. So here's the thing. I always tell this story. If you ever watch me do a webinar or something, I tell the story every single time. But my mother is not a technology adopter. She hates shopping online. And I was visiting her a couple of years ago. She's got every sound on the phone in the world on. And then it's like dinging. And I'm laying on the couch and it's just dinging. And then she starts reading the text out loud, and they're all from brands. She hates shopping online. She is not a technology adopter. She doesn't know how to do anything, but she's signing up for brand text messages. Like, it was kind of that aha moment. And all right, there's something here. The caveat I always say, if people don't want to sign up, they don't have to give you the mobile number. And that's going to be your indication about whether your audience wants it or not. It's pretty simple. It's simple.
Yeah. Last question on the welcome pop-up before I move on to some of the other ones is, if you had to choose any preference, there's like the spin the wheel for a discount.
Yep.
There's the enter your email for a mystery discount, which sometimes I find interesting. There's a percentage discount. Some people do $1 discount. Some people do enter your email for a draw. So like, rather than just getting 10% off once a month, they give away $1,000 product, which has extremely high value. Like in the end, it's net the same because it's only one per month. What's your preference there? What would you say about some of those different options?
I'll give you half of a consultant's cop out here, which I'll do. I won't tell you to test it, which is the other consultant's cop out, but sometimes it's true. So all things being equal, I've got good profit margins, stuff like that. I want to capture the sale. I think this answer might have changed if you asked me 2 years ago, because we are in a place where consumer confidence is declining, consumer spending is declining. Every earnings report you are seeing in the last month, they're all warning against it. Amazon is now running their spring sale, their big spring sale, to non-Prime members, right? Who knows this is coming up? If you can afford the 10% margin or whatever that discount is, I would give them a discount. I think for your personal brand, whatever makes sense, right? Cost, whether it's a percentage off, $1 off with a minimum spend, which tier discount, right? Things like that are perfectly fine. So get the minimum spend in there, get them above that threshold that makes them profitable. All things being equal, spin the wheels are fun. People like them. They do. This is anecdotally, I don't think people sign up for them more. Omnisend data will tell you they do sign up more with spin the wheel. I would say spin the wheels, because what are you going to lose? And you can customize those now. But just a regular pop-up versus that, I think you're fine either way. So whatever fits your brand. Discounts now, if you can't discount your point of like a monthly giveaway, love it, right?
Yeah.
Make it work for you.
Yeah.
If you've got really tight margins, I think minimum spend on the discount works really well as also. So just play it by ear. I don't think you can really go wrong though. But don't feel you need to give away the farm. Do what works for you.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm thinking of one of the stores that I manage with, and I use Omnisend. I think I've tested every single one. We have an offer for $15 off. Then we've tested another one that was 10% off, which their average order value is between $100 to $150. So it works out to be around $15. We did another one where we did a draw every month. And then we also did a big fly out with a spin the wheel offer. For us, for this test, the spin the wheel converted quite a bit higher. But what we don't know is how much did that affect people's buying behavior when they didn't have a coupon. So there's like, for example, what I mean by this is if you land on a site and you see a big coupon of like a potential coupon that you could spin, and there's one 50% off coupon on there, but like a whole bunch of 10%, and you get the 10%, it makes you think that there's 50% coupons out there, and you feel a little bit burnt only getting a 5 or a 10. And what I don't know, we haven't checked, is for people who get the 10% off on the spin the wheel, do they convert the same as people who just opted in and got the 10% off on the default pop-up? Because they don't feel burnt. They don't feel like, oh, there's a 50 out there and I didn't get it. And then even more so, people who just enter, if there's no mention of a coupon code, just submit your email and we're giving away $1,000 worth of product this month. They don't see a coupon code at all. So they don't even, I mean, one of the biggest reasons of cart abandonment is people leave to go find a coupon code. And so I don't have the answer to, but from what we've seen is the spin the wheel definitely seems to convert the most. How does it affect others? I would test too. I agree. So
well, here's the beauty of Omnisend is you can test pop-ups, right?
Yeah.
So you can throw two side by side. To your point though, right? If you have one with incentive, one without the incentive, you can obviously measure the submission rate, the follow-through rate. I mean, here's the other option you can always do here is say you're okay giving everyone 10%, but you just want to find out if you cannot give someone 10% without affecting sales. Just send them a 10% like surprise and delight welcome message, discount in the welcome message for those that you do not promise a gift a 10% for. See what your conversion rates were like. And that will give you an indication that, okay, our submission rate slightly lower, the rates going through, right? You can play around with that as many ways as you want to.
Yeah. Okay, so you can A/B test pop-ups?
You can.
I haven't done that. Okay, interesting. So that's the perfect thing to do then. I think in this scenario, that answers it right there.
I think when you're looking at the platform, upper right corner, there's a drop down that'll just say A/B test, and then it'll duplicate the form for you, and then you can make your customizations.
Amazing. Okay, let's get into automation. I want to talk about automation, personalization. I want to talk about flows, but let's automation. What are maybe a handful of automations that stores should be thinking about doing? There's the obvious ones that come to mind. You probably may have some other ideas. What are the main ones that you would recommend stores run, and maybe rank them a little bit if possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give a quick baseline here for why I'm talking about automation so much, which I've been talking about for years. But so last year, 25 billion messages sent, right? 37% of all email orders came from automated messages. 37%, 2% of sends. So you think about the weight of that. The year before that, 2023 might have been around 40%. Typically, it's going to go between 32 to 38%, somewhere in that ballpark. But you think about last year, 37% of sales came from 2% of messages. That's why I talk about automation so much. It's like a cheat code. Right?
That's insane. 30% of all revenue driven through emails came through 2% of automation sends.
37,
That's like, the Pareto principle 80-20. This is like that to the extreme. Like, amazing.
So this is why when people don't have, they're like, no one needs a welcome message. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, even if no one, you're not sending it now, what's the harm in sending it, right? You do something. So that's my baseline for why I get so amped up about automations. Okay, so let's layer that now. Over 80% of those sales came from 3 messages or 3 series of messages. So this is where I go my ranking, and that's going to be your welcome message we just talked about. It's going to be product abandonment, and it's going to be cart abandonment. So we talked earlier about those high intent stages. It's not surprising that those high intent stages messages drive the majority of the revenue. I will say, cart abandonment, welcome messages, there's a lot more volume sent than the other messages, right, compared to lapsed purchase. So the percentage of orders will skew a little bit, but they still get higher than, they get the better conversion rates, they get better open rates, they get better click rates.
What is the difference between cart abandonment and product abandonment?
Yeah, so product abandonment, sometimes they'll say browse abandonment, same philosophy, just different strategy. So cart abandonment is user puts an item in their shopping cart and then doesn't complete the purchase.
And they've gotten to the checkout or even before?
So you could do either. So there's checkout abandonment and cart abandonment, right? So cart abandonment would be, I don't actually go through checkout yet. You could if you want, but I don't go through checkout yet and I leave your site, but it's still in my cart. Checkout abandonment is actually you go through the checkout process and then you leave during that process. You can customize those either way you want, and you can move from one in a workflow as well. So, hey, did they get the checkout phase right? And then you can split it that way. So I just lump them all together.
So, but this is a really interesting point. But so product abandonment, you might want to nudge them like, oops, did you leave something behind? Checkout abandonment shows a higher intent of purchase. Like we noticed you might have forgot this, and then maybe you offer a discount at that point or something, but you can have a different strategy for each of them.
Yeah. And so you're right. Product abandonment, we don't put an item in our shopping cart yet, but we're viewing a specific item or in browse abandonment's category.
So the messaging is like, we noticed this piqued your interest. That kind of that. Yeah.
Those messages you could leave generic, but if you think about how you can use this specifically, right? So if I'm looking at like, I don't know, I don't wear sweater vest, but I'm looking at a specific sweater vest, like a sweater, like a vest jacket. All right.
Yeah.
You could send me an email and highlight specific features of that. There's a phone pouch and whatever, and triple insulated, weighs less than whatever, right? So you can use those messages to re-engage people and be like, hey, we saw you looking at blah, blah, blah. But you can give product detail. You can convince that person. You can show some social proof about what people thought about that, right? Show reviews. So the goal is to get them back to the site where they can cart a product at that point. Browse abandonment, a little more generic, right? You could do a category. So men's shoes or men's, be like, hey, here's some, we'll talk about social proof today, but here's some of our top sellers of men's shoes, or customer favorites of top rated products of men's shoes. So you guide them a little bit more. But again, it's those stages, right?
Yeah.
I'm on your website. I'm checking out products. There's some sort of intent with me. Go ahead and trigger that to me afterward. Years ago, I would talk to clients and be like, well, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to make them feel like I'm stalking them. Are you going to send them a message anyways?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you're going to email them on Friday? And they're like, yeah. Like, is it going to be segmented to exactly what they're shopping for? Well, no. So wouldn't you rather send them a targeted, timely message based on something they're actively shopping for, an unsegmented message? The answer is always yes.
Yeah.
That's why they convert better. Yeah.
And if anyone doesn't think that they're valuable, my mind goes to how many times a day I open another tab on my browser and then completely forget what I'm doing in another tab.
Yeah.
Like, we're so busy. I have 70 tabs open. I'm doing something. I open another tab. I get distracted. A message pops up. And then I literally forget what I was doing, and I start clicking through the tabs. Oh yeah, I was in the middle of this email, or I was in the middle of this document or something. So like, people are so distracted with 100 dings and pop-ups and messages, and like, it's just natural. People are going to abandon, and you're doing them a favor by sending them that email. And like, it's not annoying. You're doing a courtesy almost.
And there's two things I would say to this as well. Is one, you can combine multiple channels in the workflow. So if you know they're an email and SMS subscriber, or SMS only, or email only, you can easily customize those paths. So come back and check out XYZ on my phone, and I've got my other tab open. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go there. And maybe you only offer the 10% or whatever discount. You give them like an exclusive time on their phone to get them back. Doesn't really matter where they purchase. They've got a code there. So your channels. Second thing I would say is, again, we talk about omni-channel marketing here. So if someone's on your website or they cart a product and then they leave, what is a retailer's like common MO here? I was like, all right, well, let's do some lookalike audiences or retarget them on another platform to try to get them back. Those retargeting ads are costing you a lot more than the fraction of a penny it costs to send an email. So use the fraction of a penny to get them back, and hopefully save yourself on those retargeting ads elsewhere. That's how.
Yeah. So how does Omnisend know the person? Do they have to have opted into an email prior to this to be able to email them?
So of course, right, we want to go GDPR, can spam, all the different compliance laws and regulations around. So yeah, we're going to be looking at people who are opted into your email program. If there's something that's truly transactional where you can send to them without the opt-in, we could do those things, right? You think about order confirmation, stuff like that. But
okay.
But generally, we're looking at previous subscribers to your email program that we can track them, even if it's not that session they sign up. We know their web history, and of course, we could save that history. So if you want to run some segmentation later, or have the automation say, hey, they've got to visit this category 3 times before we send them a message. So you kind of hit that intent. You can set those rules up pretty easily.
Makes sense. Which makes it even more important why you get that email early on.
Yes.
Through the year. Yeah.
100%.
Amazing. I don't know if this is a good segue, but maybe it's a good segue, but I saw in your presentation the other week with flows, I saw something that I thought was genius. You had a flow created where when a cart size was less than $50, it sent an abandoned email saying, you left something in your cart, come back. But if the cart size was more than $50, you included a coupon code, because obviously there's enough margin there, or there's different logic, or maybe you can do something if the cart size is over $100, you do something even bigger. Like, I thought that was so smart. I haven't done that with the stores I run, and I want to actually implement that right away. But tell me about flows and how that works.
Yeah. So thank you for noticing that, by the way. So I always say it's the small, simple things matter, right?
Yeah.
And it could be, the smallest thing sometimes does matter. So this is something that very few brands do. Some do it. So how I look at it is, let's just use the $50 example. Let's say you have a free shipping on your website, but the threshold is $50 as a starter. The person who's abandoning less than $50 and the person who's abandoning a cart at $300, they have very different intentions of purchase. They have very different reasons for abandoning. So we know for a fact the person who has the $300 cart is not abandoning because they get free shipping. The problem is, a lot of brands, which I would tell you to do, templatize all their value adds in their messages. I think it's a great thing to do. Abandoned cart, a lot of times they don't customize those a bit. They just use whatever abandoned cart message the email provider gives them. And they're like, okay, this is good enough. Well, a lot of times free shipping is one of those messages. So if you are getting this, and this happened to me before when I was buying a dishwasher, the big call out was free shipping. And I'm like, yeah, your free shipping is $35 and I'm spending $1,200 here. You damn right I'm getting free shipping, right? It's a wasted message because it's not giving me any value.
Yeah.
So we have a different reason for abandoning. Chances are it's either scared of price point. It is, I'm unsure about the product quality, maybe the fit, if it's clothing.
Yeah.
I'm unsure about your customer. There's something else there. $50, I've got lower profit margins. I'm trying to get you above a threshold. Free shipping probably matters to you at this point, because I might go to Amazon or Temu or something and see if they got the same thing there and I get my free shipping. So you can make your messages slightly different. You can call out those different value adds. You can use different incentives to, okay, you're $20 I need to get you over 50, or I want to get you close to 50 because I want you to get the free shipping, feel like you got something, but I'm also going to give you a discount because I want you to get free shipping. And now we're talking about like, hey, we'll give you 20% off, but you got a minimum spend of $75 or something.
Yeah.
Right? You could play,
Yeah.
but you can promote something different in that message. So you make that message, which is already relevant, a little more specific to that user, and you try to overcome those obstacles to purchase. Right? Why are they not purchasing? And you could think about that differently. You could also change, do I need to send 3 messages or 4 messages to someone who abandoned a $20 shopping cart? Probably not. Do I maybe want to do that for the $300 card? Yeah, I probably do. So you can just customize your messaging paths. You can change the timing of those. You can do whatever you want to, but small, simple things. As far as doing it in a workflow, super easy. Like you can create one of those splits in 4 seconds, right? Maybe 7 if you want to play around with the criteria. But I mean, we're talking about literally seconds to do that.
Yeah.
And even if you just want to test it and be like, okay, I'm going to test my timing, just copy the note over, split test it, and boom, you're done. So that's what I mean. You're taking something that already performs extremely well, and you're trying to do small, simple customizations that changes the customer experience and reinforces, hey, this is why I want to be with this company, because they just told me they've got 24/7 amazing support and customers love them. I feel comfortable purchasing from. Right. And those are the things that are going to matter at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And if anyone hasn't experienced Omnisend flows, like they're pretty neat. You literally kind of drag and drop different flows. And if a customer does a certain thing, or you start this flow, if they do take some other action, send this one. And it feels very personalized. The emails they get. Like, let's maybe give a bit of an overview of flows, because we kind of went right into a specific flow there, but let's take like the welcome series. What's a flow you could do with that welcome series? Let's start there.
Yeah. So obviously you got your trigger node. So here's the great thing about Omnisend. If you're unfamiliar with flows, or you're unfamiliar with, say, an Omnisend platform, we actually built templates of the flows that you can customize it. But you don't know where to start, you just click welcome, and we'll have welcome 3 messages, welcome plus SMS, and it for you. And then you can customize as you want to go. So we do that. So 1 minute. And then we have our options, right? If you have a message in there, you can just add a node, add a delay, and say, okay, do I want to send another message? Do I want to split it to SMS? Do I want to do whatever I want here? So you can just keep adding, moving stuff around, and deleting as you see fit. What I would do from a welcome message, usually 2 to 3 messages, most brands will settle with. I think it's perfectly fine. My goal of a welcome message, want to get you to convert, guide you. You are probably new to my brand because you're new to my email program. It's an assumption, not always true, but I need to guide you. And this is why I said, don't tell your brand story. People are not signing up for your email program to hear your founder's story. It might matter. It might be worth having a call out to link them more, but that's not why they're there. They're there to shop.
Yeah. So
welcome them. If you give them incentive, give them the incentive right away. Let them convert. I would suggest products for them. So if you don't have dynamic content or anything set up, I would just do something simple. Top rated products, customer favorites, put some social proof in there. You're guiding people to things that you know the reviews are going to be good. You know where they're shopping. You know what your customers generally like to buy. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And that message 2 or 3, hit your value adds. So, tell them about top rated products, maybe different categories. So top rated women's, top rated men's, top rated whatever. Highlight customer service, highlight all those differentiators that are going to make someone shop with you. And if that's 2 messages, it's 2 messages. If 3, it's 3. Perfect. And let them get on. And we can talk about customization strategies here, because we talk about guiding, but I don't want to detract too much from this.
No, that'd be great. Well, and you can then trigger different flows based off if they click on something in the email and how they interact with it. Do they open it, not open it, engage with it? You can send them down different paths as well too. So there's a lot. I would just encourage anyone, go play with it. It's really powerful the different paths a customer can take based off how they interact.
Yeah. So user behavior, it's exactly right. And even if you build one flow and you have, you don't split it off, and you have an SMS message going away right away. And by the way, if you have an SMS and they opt in, send them a SMS welcome text as well with email. But even if you make a mistake and I put one flow for email and SMS, what happens to my SMS or people not opted into SMS? It just skips over them and goes to the email portion. So we make it kind of foolproof for you. I love your example of click-based behavior because I talk about this all the time. So we want to customize these messages as much as possible. So again, small, simple things. I've got one welcome message, sends to everyone, no customization. You can customize it based on the information you ask for on that pop-up form if you're asking for something different, male, female, or not. But say you have a generic one. So think about if I'm selling men's, I'm selling women's, and I'm selling kids. I get the welcome message and you just have a note that says, hey, give me everyone who clicked on the kids category in the welcome email. Well, you can split those off and then send them a welcome series, which is very similar to before, but now you're recommending top rated kids products or, customer favorite kids gear. It could be same with women, same with men's. It could be product categories, shoes, jewelry, bathing suits, whatever it might be. And again, you don't have to have dynamic content necessarily in there, but you're just doing something a little bit better, a little bit more than the other guys, but you're trying to be more targeted with them. And you can always have fallback content in there, right? Your tertiary content that's just different categories, shop men, shop women. So if they click by accident or they're shopping for their boyfriend or girlfriend, but they also want to shop for themselves, they've got fallback categories to then pursue. So small, simple things that take really minutes to do, and you can make a big difference.
Yeah. So there's some strategy here where in that first email in the welcome series, maybe have a few different categories of products to that's like top of the funnel. They click on a certain one and then you can segment them based off of, are they interested in your TV equipment or your car audio equipment? Like you can channel them that way. Do they have dogs or do they have cats? If you sell, super smart. And then you don't have to ask all that up front on the sign up form. So you maybe get better opt-in.
Yeah. And it's self-segmenting, right? But most brands will have a navigation bar in their email. So it's an easy place to kind of do it. And then you can do
fair enough.
Like you could combine multiple of these things into one thing, right? Did they click on any men's category? Link. Boom, done.
Yeah. I feel like we skipped by some of the other automations because we jumped right into the different types of abandoned cart ones. But I remember you highlighted a lot of different ones. There was the post-purchase ones. What are some of the other ones that stores should think about making sure they have on? I'm trying to remember. I think it was back in stock was the number one opened one, right?
So the metrics with back in stock are nuts, right?
Yeah.
Highest open rates, highest conversion rates are astronomical. I think, so I'm going to go off the top of my head here. A general scheduled kind of quote unquote batch and blast marketing message, your conversion rate, so conversion based on email sent is 0.07%, pretty consistent year over year. Welcome message might be like $2 or a 2 point something, right? So you go 0.07 to 2. I think back in stock might have been like 5.8. Like it's really the amount. We send fewer of them than we do any other message. So take it with a grain of salt. But I think there's a lot there because I've been sending for a couple of years and those numbers are pretty consistent. I think to me, what it tells me is sense of urgency. / fear of missing out, FOMO. They work for you. And how do you take what you learn there and apply it to something else? So if you have the ability to run back in stock messages and automate those, I would do it. We talk about our signups integrate with Shopify where you can just plug it in and it'll only show up if your product's out of stock and it disappears when I'm back in stock. So you can start collecting email addresses that way, but the automation's set up for you.
So
it
good.
takes you literally 2 seconds to do. Like you just hit enable and it shows up in your Shopify store. If you don't, I would just do like, you could always do a pop-up and stuff like that with those settings too. But if not, utilize the things. So if you have a product, that comes back in stock and you're looking for an email to send on Tuesday, right? Back in stock. You just send it to everyone. But again, it's using social proof, which I love, reinforcing the people, whether they bought the product or not, whether they're interested or not, that the product sold out once, it's coming back, it's a customer favorite. It wouldn't be if the product stunk. Right? It's top rated, and you use that to your advantage here. So works from a subject line standpoint. You can also do that with recently back in stock products as secondary or tertiary content in your messages. Timeliness. Again, we're just adding small things. It's like compounding interest. We're just making it stack up.
Yeah. And it's one more point where you collect that in that email. And then if you want to send browser abandonments, you have it. Like it's just another great spot to collect the customer as well.
Yeah. And, you look fast forward 6 months or a year, right? So let's use that like Jack Invest or something, whatever thing I said before,
Yeah.
right? So they were interested a year ago. We've got a new product line now, an upgraded version of that, right? You still have that contact info saved, even if they didn't buy the initial product. You could send just a segmented message to those people and be like, hey, the latest or the upgraded XYZ, jacket for you. And you try to get those sales the following year as well.
Yeah. So can these back in stock emails do they trigger automatically as soon as you update your inventory in Shopify?
They do. Yeah.
So when the item's out of stock, the button switches to a notify me when in, they click that, they enter their email, and then a week later, you just adjust your inventory in Shopify, and everyone who entered that automatically gets sent.
Yep. So the sign up form disappears from that product page on your site, and then the automation will trigger off to the contacts who filled out that specific form.
Like that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, and I click those all the time, and I use them all the time too. Like at so many stores, that's one of the emails that I will always enter. Like it doesn't feel marketing, or it's very transactional. Like I want to get notified when this is back in stock, but you're also collecting that email as well too.
So I'm the same way. I fill those things out, right? You're only filling them out if you have a high intent to.
Totally.
Like, you identify, it's like checkout, right? You identified a product that you're like, I need to hear about this.
Yeah.
You're hoping it comes back in stock within a couple of days.
Yeah.
But it also, like, you can create a different workflow that says, hey, if someone's signing up for this green pair of shoes that sell out, right? Can you send off a message to just those people if it's not coming back in stock for a month about top rated products that like, hey, we know you're interested in this, but here's some other options for you.
Smart.
And like a smaller segment, but you can get some of those conversions there. So there's so many things you could do with like small pieces of data.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of time that anyone can do. And the goal is just to increase sales as quick as possible.
Yeah. I've been using Omnisend for years, and I still feel like I'm not even using all of the value that it can bring. It's insane when I log in and I see the total number of conversions that it's driven, and I'm not using the back in stock feature on a lot of stores, but I'm going to turn that on right after this episode.
So you would use it for a couple of years. The platform is so night and day for what so awesome.
The other ones that were really high up there. Oh, well, let's talk about post-purchase. I feel like this is one that a lot of brands don't do well, and they're missing a big opportunity.
Underutilized, over important, in my opinion. So we talked about customer service before. This is people hear post-purchase and they think of like, oh, I'm sending a product review email and I'm sending a shipping and order confirmation email.
Yeah.
Those are not what I'm talking about. Those are great messages, but obviously transactional ones, but like product review, a lot of value that comes from those messages. I'm talking about your customer service team. So how I tell people to do it is look at a post-purchase series as a series of messages, however long that is, that benefits the customer and does not benefit the company. At the end of the day, it will come back to benefit the company. So I'll give you examples of this. And a thank you message after someone purchases that just, hey, thanks for making your purchase. If you need it, have some sort of call to action. Go to a blog, you could go to FAQ pages, go to customer service, just provide customer service numbers.
Yeah.
It could be an incentive with a call to action to shop. Right? You don't have to, but you can. Thanking people like to be thanked.
Yeah.
It's simple, right? So I'll tell a story here in a second. A message my wife sent me a couple weeks ago was a thank you message. She's usually my barometer for how well brands are doing from a shopping standpoint, because she likes shopping. You send her a 2% discount, she'll buy and convert from it. But she also has very little room for bad emails. So it's kind of funny. So messages like that, how to or tips and tricks type messages. So how to get someone to utilize that purchase better. They have a better experience with the product. So if you have makeup, this is an example I put in that presentation. This is one my wife got about a week and a half ago. She bought some makeup and the email came and it was like, you got your makeup, now here's how to apply it. And it's to, I think, my Instagram or YouTube, but it does a couple things. One, it helps her use that product better. So she doesn't put it on and like, oh, this stuff sucks, Two, next time she needs makeup, she might go because it's a good experience.
Mhm.
Free, even if she's not buying it again, but she wants to learn how to do other things, makeup better or style her hair better. She
Yeah.
looks at the company as a resource now. She's going to navigate to YouTube or navigate to the Instagram handle to look for those how-to videos. This is stuff that matters at the end of the day, right? Tips and tricks with utilization here. I'm a huge proponent of first-time customers. You send a check-in message a week or two after they purchase to just ask them how everything's going, right? We talked earlier about, customers that have a fine experience, but not a wowing experience. It's very indifferent. Getting that is harder. But those people, if they have a slightly hiccuped experience, not enough for them to want to spend time contacting someone, complaining about it, dealing with all that stuff. But the next time they need to purchase, they might just not come back, right? They'll come back as a second option. They'll look somewhere else first and they'll know, I can't get it here, so now I'll come back. Messages like that, I used to have clients that would do this. They would say, okay, we'll do that. We'll check it out. It's a good idea. And they would get people that start contacting them and go, you know what? Now that you mention it, this happened. Not a huge deal, but it is your chance to then solve that problem. And the quicker you solve the problem, the better it is, the more they feel taken care of, the more likelihood they are going to come back and shop with you because they know if there's a problem next time, you got me. So that's what I mean by post-purchase.
Yeah. And you get ahead of it too, right? So like,
yes,
people need an outlet. And if they are frustrated, they might post about it online somewhere, but you get ahead of it before they get out and tell their friends, yeah, no, it wasn't that great. I had this issue. Like you're proactive. Like it's huge. I think personally, so we do a lot in the subscription space. And I always tell our merchants when someone subscribes, you don't actually have a customer yet. You have this lead that like when someone buys a product, they're not sold on your product for life. They're trying it out. And your job is to educate them and, reinforce the value of it. Maybe it's about like the good will that your company does with charities and how it's ethically sourced and how it's made and how you have a diverse workforce and just all these there's 100 different things you can include there. But the point is there's no difference often between a $20 bottle, like, $5 bottle of wine might be cheap, but it's like when you get to like $25 or $30, the actual difference in quality from like a $30 bottle to a $70 bottle isn't any difference. It's just perceived value. Maybe a $500 bottle of wine is a select few or something. But anyways, and you get the point. And so the perceived value is the knowledge that you get from the sommelier when he comes by your table and says where the wine is from, how it's made, and there's a certain region where only these grapes grow, and we sing to the grapes as they grow or something, whatever it is. But as soon as you understand that and then you taste that wine, it tastes better. And it's because of the knowledge. And if you don't have that, it's different perceived value. And so there's a point of shopping, and they've done studies on this, of where endorphins in the brain are released. And at the point you check out, when you actually click that checkout button, is that one of the highest points of endorphins dopamine hit when you're shopping online. And like we've all experienced it. Like I joke about this with my wife. Like sometimes when we make a big purchase, I'll tell her to come over and we click the buy button at the same time. Like if we're like booking a big trip or we're buying something, we're like, okay, are you sure? Okay, come over. Okay, let's click at the same time. I don't know. There's like this moment of excitement, right? And then a lot of times everything after that is just like a big letdown from the brand. I get like an order confirmation email and that's it. But you have this window of opportunity, and I call it the half-life of excitement, where you have this opportunity where you could probably send that customer 3 emails within a day and they're not going to get mad. Like you could send them an email right away. You could send them another email 2 hours later. You could send them an email 6 hours later. And that customer is not going to get mad, because if I just bought a leather couch, I want to learn about like where the leather's made. I want to learn about how it's treated. It's like, I'm not going to be mad because that company just sent me 3 emails. I'm actually going to be thankful. And then I'm also going to appreciate it more. I'm going to recommend it more, and I'm going to perceive the value. So I think it's one of the most underutilized email automations of any email automation.
So product care messages, you just mentioned, like the leather example. how to care for your couch. I love those messages.
Yeah.
Freaking love them. So, if you have accessory items, you don't have to push the accessories that tie into it. Like suggest them at the bottom. So
Yeah.
I always give the example of like, buy lingerie, right? And you get a message like how to properly wash your lingerie. Well, if you sell lingerie detergent and a lingerie bag, perfect, easy upsell. Waterproofing of boots or shoes, right? Maybe you have a spray, how to properly care for these things. And you have that. These simple upsells where you're not pushing it, you're helping them care for the product. Huge. People love those things.
Yeah.
You got time for a quick story, Jay?
I love stories.
Awesome. So I used to work with this company years ago, sold high-end Christmas trees, like expensive high-end Christmas trees. And we were at an event and just having a drink one night, and we were talking. They already had a post-purchase series in place for these people, which made a lot of sense. But she was like, hey, we just updated one of our messages. And I'm like, oh, tell me about it. So it was like the typical Pinterest stuff. People would get this high-end tree, looks beautiful, quality is excellent. They'd set it up, and it doesn't look like the tree in the picture, right? I use Pinterest, but
yeah.
She said their customer service department would get inundated with phone calls. Hey, it doesn't look like it. And they would say customer service department would spend their time telling people, giving them instructions how to properly, they call it fluffing a tree.
Yeah.
And once they did, it looked great. They had a mechanism internally that would look at that and go, okay, they would communicate common issues from customer service over the marketing department. And this was the number one request. They were also struggling at the time trying to cross-sell accessory items for trees. So decorations, wreaths, stuff like that. So they're like, okay, let's make a how-to post-purchase message. We'll make a video that shows you how to properly fluff the tree. So I don't remember the numbers offhand. I know the customer service calls decreased by over 50% for people because of this video. And they were able to almost 2x the amount of accessory items sold in the post-purchase series. It was just a cross-sell email because of this, because people got this product, looks great. Now they love you a little bit more. And they're like, oh, that looks great. I bet this ornament or I bet this wreath is going to look awesome. And you jump on them. And obviously with a Christmas tree, right, you've got a limited time to jump on them right there to cross-sell them. It's just a good example of, that person can get the tree and it looks okay. And they're like, yeah, a little disappointed, not enough to call and complain. But what are they going to do? Tell their friends.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. I wish it looked better. Well,
the first thing you do when you buy something is you often go to YouTube to watch how to use it. Like if I bought new microphones the other day or new headphones, I go and how to use it. Or if you buy this Christmas tree, someone's going to Google and you might as well be the expert on that. And you might as well be the authority and give the exact right experience you want to your customers rather than letting someone else who might slip in a few negative things here and there in the video. Like just be the expert, put it in the email. Like I agree. And tree fluffing is a whole ordeal at our house. It's like a 2-bottle of wine thing. We fluff it's a whole thing. I feel like we might have to do another episode at some point because we're getting close on time, but I want to touch on, like, we didn't talk at all about personalization, A/B testing. There's so much to Omnisend that like, it's amazing, but maybe sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, to give you an out, we talked a little bit about personalizing some of those automations on simple things. So I'll give you a little bit of an out there. So we covered something.
Okay, fair enough. We did touch a bit on it. But I mean, it's like personalization is, different customers buy different products. Yeah. They react different or engage differently on your site. I use this a lot with Omnisend. We send different emails based off of how they engage. I guess we did talk a little bit about it with what they're looking at and in the automation and sending different flows. But A/B testing is something that I use a lot as well too. Maybe let's just talk about that really quick and then we'll wrap it up. Sure. Because I think like subject lines, oh man, I'd love to pick your brain on subject lines too, but subject lines, body, the preview text, you pretty much A/B test everything, the whole email itself. Is there any best practices? Like obviously people can probably get carried away with this, like testing 10 different messages, but some basic things that they should do when it comes to A/B testing.
Yeah, I look at testing like segmentation, right? It could be really simple, but it could also be extremely complex and kind of unmanageable at times. So testing, my biggest piece of advice is, I think if you test subject lines, you're going to get very minimal results. I think subject lines might be more overrated now than ever. And most automations, I think, matter a little bit more, but just scheduled messages. I think your preview text probably matters more than the subject line nowadays. Story testing, I say simplify it as much as possible and say, what do I want to test and why do I want to test it? What specifically am I looking for? So am I looking to get a 2% or a 0.2% increase in click rate when my conversion rate's not changing? I'm not sure what ultimately that's getting you, right? We want to drive the sales. So if I'm going to get my clicks and I increase this, what am I doing on the messages that convert well, that carries over to the website that gets people to convert? Sometimes it's out of your control. It's going to be product, it could be price point, it could be timing. But ideally, if you increase clicks, you want to increase your sales are going to increase. And if that's not happening, you're testing the wrong thing, right? It's like, oh, what do I do to get more clicks? The answer should be, what do I do to get more conversion, right? And that might take you to clicks. So I would really break down exactly what you're trying to do and work backward from there and figuring out, okay, this is the thing that's going to likely matter the most to me. Now, how do I fine tune that? I think, we talk about colors and all that stuff. At the end of the day, I don't think landing page is probably a little bit different from an email. I don't think the color of your call to action button is ultimately going to matter for 99% of brands. So it's on like the things that you think are going to actually make a difference. And I think that will guide you. I think you'll be fine with it, right? That it helps you keep it kind of contained and not out of hand.
Yeah. We've really used it a lot to test emails that are very flashy with a lot of images, and then the same message sometimes that is almost plain text. Sometimes we find the plain text actually converts much better. And then sometimes, like for certain emails, the flashy ones convert a lot better too, like depending what the content is. So you can't just say, I sometimes hear people say like, no, plain text is better, as short, super short and sweet. Well, no, sometimes you need that social proof and you need certain elements in there. So yeah, you look like you're about to say something on that.
No, I was going to say you're 100% right. And times change. Consumers change, right? Consumers are shopping different now than they were 2 years ago and 5 years ago. And if you're like, oh, plain text works, which the first Obama presidential run is what kicked off this whole plain text thing, right? Because that's how he was fundraising.
Right.
He caught it at the right time, though. He was targeting people who were used to email, and everyone's tried to duplicate that since. And it's like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. Different strokes, different folks, but different times as well, right? People are on Instagram and visual channels. A lot of times, the more the visual works, to your point, sometimes they get fatigued and like, I like the text.
Yeah.
Plain simple. Here's my button. Let me click it, right? And I think what works today, even if it is gangbusters, 6 months from now, you might find opposite results, and you just need to shift there a little bit. So just monitor your metrics over time, because that's gonna tell you whether you need to test at that point.
Yeah. Greg, this has been such an enlightening episode for me. I've really enjoyed it, because not only I know there's so much value here for our listeners, but for me personally as well, as an Omnisend user, I think we should do this again, and I would love to do it with, I know you put out your annual report. Actually, can you guide some of our listeners? I'll make sure it's in the show notes as well too, but you've got an amazing, or Omnisend puts it out. I know you kind of head it up, but the annual report on different demographics and who's opening what and by industry vertical, and it's really packed full of information. Where do listeners go to get that?
Yeah, so if you go to just omnisend.com, hover over the banner, there's a resources section, and then there's a subheading on the resource. You can just one click there, but there's a report section that you can go to. We do more than email as well. So we have reports on TikTok and Amazon virality. We have Amazon and Temu shop, right? We have reports on kind of e-commerce ecosystem type stuff there as well. So even if email bores you, which shouldn't, but you're looking for something a little bit more, we do Black Friday and Cyber Monday specific reports as well. So you find some of those on there, but check them out. We do kind of holistic reports all over the place.
Awesome. And I just wanted to personally say big thank you. Omnisend is a sponsor of the show, and they believe in what we're doing, and they believe in helping Shopify merchants grow their business. And so I personally recommend Omnisend to everyone I interact with. And so just want to make sure all of our listeners are aware. They're a big part of why this show exists. And actually, right after this show ends, we've got a very special offer from Omnisend. It's an extremely good offer. I'm going to read it out after. So hang on for about 15 seconds to those listening. And then I'll instruct you how to get that offer that Omnisend has put together. And then just lastly, Greg, for you personally, if people want to follow you and engage with you, where are you active? What social media platforms are you most active on?
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm going to spend just 5 seconds giving you, 10, just giving a quick kind of recap if I can. We talked a lot about today. I would just tell anyone listening, don't be overwhelmed. They're small, simple things. Just tackle them one at a time. So we talked a lot about today, but it doesn't have to be complex. As far as where to find me, LinkedIn, I'm always on there. So feel free to get me there. I've transitioned off of X. So I'm over on Blue Sky now.
Okay.
So you can find me on Blue Sky under my name, but those are the two I'm most active on.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Greg, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it, man.